Ah, I karate chopped the camera right before we went live. I was like, something, yeah! And I gave it a right hook on the way down. No, I just fucked up and I hit my camera and it just fell over. I was, oh man, this is a great idea. Oh man! Found an old Millennium Falcon model I had as a kid. This thing was the shit when I was younger. Look at the paint job on it. It was airbrushed, and it wasn't airbrushed that well. So I'm just gonna, you know, I'm just gonna screw around and repaint it, man. I mean, why not, right? I got some paints, got some model paints, got a model here. I don't see a reason why not, dude. It's just, to me, the paint job, I can understand why it is the way it is. See if we can get you some details here. Get it to focus. See, if you can see, there's some overspray in places. And some spots that seem kind of random. And some spots that are, like, incomplete. So, we're just gonna have some fun, man. This is like, I think this is from the re-release of the original series that they did in the 90s. I think that's when I got this model. We're gonna be throwing some, stone gray in with, a little white gray. Why am I doing it like that? Because, you know, I was looking at pictures on the internet of the Millennium Falcon, and, like, I remember the Millennium Falcon being a little bit more, like, white chrome, chromed out platinum white kind of deal in the movies, but, you know, again, this is, like, my child recollection of the Millennium Falcon, and, like, every time I see it in the movies, it's, like, kind of dirty and fucked up, and it's not, like, this, like, you know, like, somehow white chrome spaceship. That's just, you know, the picture. That's the archetypal, immortal picture of the Millennium Falcon in my head, if you will. And we might use the white on my Death Guard, too, because, you know, it's the same, it's the same color scheme, actually, sort of, a little bit. Water dish here. Just thinning out the paints. The white gray and the stone gray. And how I thin the paints, I take water out of the dish with this thing right here, and I dump it into the dish. I'm clever. No, I'm not. If I was thinking more ahead, I would have like a dropper filled with water, but I don't. I never do. I never think about that. I have yet to ever think about that once. One of these two is what I call the alopecia brush. I think it's the one that is wet. It has alopecia. It's losing its bristles. It's okay. It's a terrible cheap brush. I didn't think it was going to, that is not the, that'll work. That'll just give me a base layer to work with, huh? You know what? We'll throw this on my blight hauler, and we'll only edge the Millennium Falcon with it, because this is like too dark, I think, and we're only going to be using it for a certain aspect. And the power cable is getting up in my fucking way, dude. I got my cell phone plugged in. It's going to be even harder than it normally is. You know what? We're just gonna be doing it like this, guys. Sorry, I don't have a choice too much here. That's how I karate chopped the power cable. How I karate chopped my phone earlier is I hit the power cable off, and we're just gonna. Maybe this will work. This is how I'm gripping it. This is not how you grip brushes, guys. You don't use brushes in the talon of death, is what I'm calling this, but, you know. Necessity is the mother of invention. That kind of gets into what I want to talk about in today's video, man. Is about how to deal with circumstances like the power cable's plugged in, and you don't have angles to paint anything. Or, you're, say you screwed up on the, whatever, on your drawing, on the test, walking your dog, eating kale, who knows? You done screwed up in something, man. What are you gonna do about it now? Give up? Quit? Throw everything down in a fit and leave? I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it sorta did. Sorta done did, man. It's a very bad connection! This is what I get for not having a wired connection and using this, like, I forget what we have. We have some new smart home system bullshit. It impresses yuppies. The government's definitely using it to spy on us. We got what's her name? Alexa, whatever the fuck her name is. We got the Amazon talker robot that listens to you all day. It mostly gets to listen to me take shits, because it's in the bathroom. And then I'll have it play Wagner's Flight of the Valkyries. And then, and I'll take like an epic deuce. And then it'll be party to my epic deuce. That's about the size of the situation. I gave it a music quiz once. And, yeah. Alexa's music knowledge is terrible. She knows, like, common stuff. As soon as you, like, get into the weeds a little bit, it's over. You lost Alexa. Alexa's shutting down now. She doesn't understand none of this shit, man. Like, I tried to ask Alexa about, like, super ignorant hood rap. But, she didn't know anything about it. Like, she knew some of the artists. Like, she kind of knew who Stevie Joe was, but she'd never heard of Stevie Joe Come See Me About It. And she knew who E40 was. And she did play My Shit Bang. I forget the E40 song she didn't get. And I don't think she got Black Buck Rogers by Mac Dre. She definitely did get First Day Out by D-Lo. She definitely did get Murder Gang by D-Lo, Mozzie Memba, Mozzie. Like, the more, like, obscure and, like, hood my rap got, like, the way less she was in tune. Like, I lost her at Stevie Joe, my dude. I view Stevie Joe as a fairly popular, sizable rapper. Because, you know, Alexa knows about him. She had no... I tried to look up Little Goofy, but maybe I just said it wrong. That's enough about... That you know, that's just rap, bluegrass, you know. She knew a little bit, like, she knew a little bit of bluegrass. She knew a little bit about Tentager Cavalry, which is like a metal band. She knew a little bit of metal. Like, she scored, like, I guess, middling points on everything as far as music knowledge, that weird-ass bands that I listened to. I didn't ask her about Panopticon. She even knew about Puddle's Pity Party. But she didn't, like, get all Puddle's... Here's the thing. She knew about things that I liked. She didn't know all the things I liked. It was close enough to make me feel uncomfortable, but not close enough for me to be like, you're totally worth it, Alexa. Thank you for spying on my life. And this is adding so much depth, just this one wash. Not even a wash, this is one layer. This was copyrighted in 1995 by LST and LFL. So, I don't know what the hell that means. But, it's a thing. Low battery warning. Alright. If this dies, it dies, and that's the end of the stream. If it doesn't die, it doesn't die, and that's not the end of the stream. How about that? So, let's talk about the Star Wars trilogy, the newest 3 movies, soon to be 4, that are coming out. Obviously, I'm a Star Wars fan because this is a Millennium Falcon toy that I've kept around since I was a kid, just for reasons of like, I can't throw away this. Obviously. I think it has bite marks from when I used to chew on it when I was little. I'm not even fucking around. I think these are bite marks from when I was a kid. And, yeah. The newest series, like, here's, upon, like, further reflection of The Last Jedi, here's what I have to say. The Last Jedi could have been the perfect Star Wars movie. The Last Jedi, instead, was completely incompetent. Also, apparently, the people who wrote the Han Solo movie wrote it as a complete joke. Like, they hired these writers, and then the writers made fun of the franchise with it because they, like I've been saying the whole time, they've been getting people who aren't fans of Star Wars to do this. That's part of the problem with the movies. You know, and it's like Ghostbusters for me. I'm not mad about, any of the female actors in Ghostbusters. I actually completely understand why they did. Yo, the one that got paid the least in Ghostbusters got paid $38 million? $38 million? I think something like that. Anyways, any number of millions to star in a terrible movie, I'm in. But here's the thing. It wasn't the acting. It wasn't the special effects people that sunk the movie. It wasn't the sound people that sunk the movie. Do you know who sunk the movie? The corporate people, the screenwriting, and the directors sunk the movie. They have a collection of hacks writing these things, and they're like, nobody likes our film because they're ignorant. No. Nobody likes Ghostbusters because Paul Feig is a fucking hack. I mean, this is sort of me, but this is just like my blunt opinion about these movies. And this is the way to improve it. Paul Feig, I don't think, liked Ghostbusters or understood it. I don't think any of these people like Star Wars or understood it. Do you know who you get to write Star Wars? Isn't Simon Pegg a Star Wars fan? Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. I know you might say Attack the Block or whatever. Hey, man. There's directors out there who are straight up and writers who are like Star Wars fanboy nerds that have greater power levels than I could have ever conceived of. But they're not the ones working on this fucking film. Or on these films. And that's what you need. You need to get this one dude that I play X-Wing with occasionally. His power level. But with my level of being an asshole about movies. And then you'll have the best Star Wars film ever made. I don't know who that is. Go find a super dork. Who's also kind of a prick. They exist all over the place. The only problem is, I don't think that'll make corporate happy. And corporate's what's ruining these fucking films. Anyways, let's move on to some Warhammer shit. Let's talk to G-Dubs. talk about G-dubs. How could GW avoid all this bullshit? It's easy. And this, this will sound like fucked up, but this is actually a pretty decent example. Don't give people who aren't fans power in the franchise. I'm not against the idea of, like, traditional feminism, but, like, this very militant form of it that is, like, what I call Meryl Streep feminism, where you, talk a big game, but you also condone rape at the same time. That's the bullshit to me. And we're going somewhere with this. Feminists want to have a faction in 40K, and I'm not mad about it, But here's the thing. Here's how you know they're all liars. Here's how you know they're not fans. Here's how you know you can't give these people who want power in the game any power in the game. Go read their website and read how many times they talk about people not wanting plastic sisters, a Sisters of Battle Codex. They have that as a talking point, that nobody wants plastic sisters. Hey guys, does nobody want plastic sisters? Oh, what? No, it's the opposite. People like me won't shut the fuck up. Everybody won't shut the hell up about plastic sisters. Fucking Celestine broke the internet for a while. They're like, what? Like, all these new models, the squats and all that, are blowing people's minds away. And that's because I think they're founded from a place of, like, caring about the lore, caring about the game, caring about, just generally knowing and caring about the lore of the game and the ethos and the setting and the everything that is involved with the atmosphere, the game, the story, the mythos. Find people who are fans. Find people who know the difference between what an AT-AT was in the original Star Wars series and people who, like, I don't hate the new AT-ATs, and they kind of sort of fulfilled a purpose that the old AT-ATs did, but I don't think they did it on purpose. They definitely didn't do that on purpose. That was just like a thing that happened on accident, in my opinion. So, get people that understand the franchise, understand that, it's not supposed to be realistic. It's not supposed to be the real world. This is a space fantasy. This isn't science fiction. If you had ever read any science fiction, you'd know the difference. I'm not trying to be negative, guys. Like, I'm not trying to go back on the positive push here. I'm just trying to be, give my honest and full opinion. And it may be kind of blunt and harsh, but sometimes harsh criticism is what you need to move forward with something that, like I said, this newest Star Wars film could have been the greatest Star Wars film of all time. The hell, these little set pieces could have been amazing. But, it was kind of not. And it was a failure to the point where I don't know if the people who made it have even faith in their new film, the Han Solo film. But here's the thing. It's failing because you're getting people like these dudes who wrote it into a straight joke. It'll fail Games Workshop because you give it to people who don't think it had plastic sisters. It'll fail because you give people power in the franchise who've never been fans of the franchise. They may, like, in a very, like, circumlocutus aspect, but they're not out there put in the trenches, as it were, putting in the time. They just view this as another platform to display their glorious virtues. I'm not here to extol virtues, dog. I'm here to talk about Star Wars and Warhammer. You don't want to start extolling virtues around me. Because, like I said, I'm an asshole. I read laws in my free time. Let's talk. And I'm not, like, proud of it. I don't try to be an asshole. It's just this stuff like this happens where I just try to be honest and people are like, oh my god, you fucking so rude. Dude, it'd be more rude for me to not tell you. But, you know, I guess whatever, man. Whatever, man. And I don't even have hate in my heart for these people. Like, I just don't think that I don't think that this lady who's in charge of Star Wars has ever liked Star Wars. I don't think the people who wrote, and were to direct these new Star Wars films ever liked the Star Wars films. Did they even like Indiana Jones? Did they like any Harrison Ford movies at all? If they didn't, why are they directing a movie surrounding a character that was popularized by Harrison Ford? Like, why any of it? If they didn't like Star Wars, why are they anything in this? Why are they even here? This would be me trying to direct the next, or talk about the, not even direct, because I've never directed. No, this is perfect. This would be me trying to direct a film, because I'm not a director. I know fuck all about directing. I've never paid attention to directing. I don't know anything about it. I make YouTube videos. This is a far cry from directing anything. It's just me painting models in the basement. I don't have to deal with anybody except for YouTube, and I don't deal with YouTube. They either let me upload my videos or they get the finger. And, yeah, I'm not a director. What they're doing is like having me direct the next, I don't know, the next next 6 movies with The Rock in it. So like me, they're like, you, Tim, you have control of The Rock. Now you direct his next 6 movies, and you're also writing them, and you're also producing them. I've never been interested in any of this. I don't want to do any of this. They're like, but we were paying you a lot of money. Okay, you talked me into directing this film I don't want to direct for the money. You know, doing all this stuff for the money, which is why these people are doing it. They're not doing it because, like, oh my god. They're not doing it because, like, what I would be doing, which is, like, jerking off every night to the idea that I was, like, working on a Star Wars film in every capacity, like, and just be fapping to it because I'm a dork. They're not like that. They aren't these kind of people, dude. And that's why it would be me trying to direct a movie, because I've never cared about directing, paid attention to it. All I do is, I guess, talk shit on movies, but I'm not even trying to talk shit. I'm trying to, you know, direct people away from ruining my childhood. Again. For another time. Like they were doing a minute ago. The last movie. I'm not even resentful that Disney is making these films every year. I just think that they should get people who, because they're, you know, give people who even, like, give the slightest of shits, man. Give the shits about Star Wars, not about promoting themselves, not about being the next, you know, whatever, being the next big thing. They're not, as I put it, they're not jerking off into the soup. What's jerking off into the soup, man? It's Fight Club in it, dog. You're fucking around and you're not making soup. And that's the problem. There's too many people fucking jerking off into the Star Wars soup, dog. They're not making a fucking soup. They're just beating themselves off, and then they call it Star Wars. They call it a Star Wars soup after they just, like, all jizz in a pot. And they're like, here's my, like, excrement semen that I expunged out while thinking about some other shit. We're gonna call it a Star Wars movie. this kind of like antithetical to my last statement about jerking off to the idea of being a Star Wars fan, but this is a phrase that I use. It's the idea that you're fucking around and doing other things besides making a good soup. You're trying to promote ideals instead of making a fucking Star Wars movie. You're trying to, appeal to markets instead of making a fucking Star Wars movie. Stop beating off into the fucking soup, dude. And that's the problem. They're not Star Wars fans. They're fans of jerking themselves off. And so everybody fucking jerks it into the fucking soup, and then we get fucking The Last Jedi. But anyways, I didn't mean to be, like, rude about that. It's just the way I view it. Stop Fight Clubbing the soup, dog. Just make a fucking Star Wars film. Stop making a Star Wars film that makes statements about things. Make a fucking Star Wars film. You might say, Tim, no, it didn't. It made a statement. If it made a statement about how evil Hollywood is. And they were fucking right. It was right. Hollywood is evil and corrupt. I will end this by saying, these people that talk to us, that ruin our fucking Millennium Falcons, they just leave it in a scrapyard for a rate of fine because of coincidence. They're the same people that were sitting by while Weinstein was Weinsteining, dog. They want to talk about making movies for morality. Not about it. Stop jerking off into the soup. G-dubs, don't give them no power. G-dubs, don't let anybody beat off into the 40K soup. You guys are already doing it on your own. That's fine. We'll take your expungement. Nobody else's. Nobody else's, GW. And yeah, just fucking make a Star Wars movie about Han Solo. Don't make a Star Wars movie about Han Solo that appeals to the top 10 demographics.